person's
Are
life.
you proud of who the fuck
Bro,
you are?
why
Well,
don't
look
you
at,
even
are
let
you
me
proud?
get-
If you look in the mirror, would you guys say this motherfucker proud of who the fuck he is? Men don't have tits.
No,
guys.
they go to prison where they get fucking.
Fuck yeah,
where they get up the ass.
You've never been to prison. Look,
That's
he's talking
what
about shit you
happens.
don't know.
They go to prison where they get.
So now you get your ass beat in front
You
of
think
everybody.
that that's better?
Guys,
You think that that's
Okay.
better?
Recently you went on this kind of podcast tour with Fresh and Fit and the Whatever podcast, and it seems like you're pretty good at making enemies, or at least people that really fucking hate you, Andrew. And
yeah, well, this is the way it is. If you're effective inside of this space, you get a lot of enemies very quickly. But so the way that I've explained this in the past, and I'll explain it to you the same way. At a certain point, a personality can become an industry unto themselves. You take a look at guys like Fuentes, for instance. He's an industry. Destiny is an industry. These aren't just personalities anymore that are on the internet. There's entire industries and orbiters and economies that spring up around these people. If you look at Fresh and Fifth, Whatever podcast, they're actual economies. And what I mean by this is there's hundreds of orbiters around Whatever podcast who spend all day long reviewing Whatever podcast content, and they make money from just reviewing the content that these other people do. So knowing that that's true, knowing that these people become industries unto themselves, there's also the counter to that, which is a hate industry. So the hate them industry also does the exact same thing, utilizes their content in order to basically push back at them or go after them in some way, because there's money involved in it. So that's what happens with personalities in this space. When they get to a certain level, right, they become an industry unto themselves, and that's why you see that effect happening. There's actually money in hating me.
Yeah, no kidding. So they can actually make money off of literally hating you.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, but it's crazy to me because that guy that attacked you, the one that was in the white pants, I don't.
Wes?
Wes, is that his name? He didn't even know who the fuck you were when you were on that stage.
Do you believe that?
Well, that's what he was saying, but I'm wondering, did he tell you anything in the backstage that you might have said something to piss him off to react in such a fucking feminine?
No, we didn't even talk to him backstage, so we weren't really sure what the content of that whole panel was going to be. We weren't exactly sure, because Myron and Walter had kind of been working on that format. I think that they themselves weren't exactly sure how they wanted to present it, if it was going to be almost like a live Fresh and Fit episode, even with after hours with the girls, or if it was going to be something else. We weren't exactly sure. So me and Jim Bob went in kind of prepared for anything, except that the one thing we were not prepared for was like a panel on success and how to be successful in life. Instead, when that happened, this guy really got triggered out of his mind because we had an anti-materialist message rather than a drive your Bugatti and go out there and try to get you the chick with the fake boobs and the fake ass and all that shit, right? That pissed him off because that's what he's selling. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So because that's what he's selling, we were essentially undermining his sales trip, right? That's a sales trip for him. He's looking at the audience as a bunch of potential buyers for his product. And we were undermining that product. Now, we weren't intentionally doing that. We weren't targeting him to undermine the product. We were just giving a different message for what we consider success to be. But from his perspective, he thought we were undermining his product. And so that's why he went fucking ballistic.
No shit. And that's because I remember you asking him, what's his name? West. Do you have a family? Would you put your children above the materialistics that you preach? He didn't even answer the question. He just went even more berserk on that.
Right. Well, that's interesting because, if you look at the birth rate crisis in the United States, actually it's people who don't have a lot of money who are having all the children.
Definitely.
Right. And so it seems like they must value something other than money and flashy cars and things like this, right? They must be valuing something different than that. And so that's why I asked him the question, like, don't you value these other things more than this? I don't care if a person gets rich, right? More power to them. I don't care if they end up with a lot of money. I don't care if they, work on their body for health purposes and they get shredded and ripped and all that. That's totally up to you. And I highly encourage it. Like, go get rich, but just understand that is you're conflating means and ends. And so that can't be the end. The end can't just be wealth for wealth's sake, right? So the means have to move to some kind of end that's worth something. And we couldn't really get into the materialist debate with the guy because he was just too busy freaking out.
Yeah, no, definitely. So here's another question when it comes to especially this guy West and several of the Bugattis, etc. Why do you think young men or people in general kind of look up to these guys who basically look at strength as like materialism? Like what's the main reason why? Is it a psychological thing? Why young men are so attracted to that?
Most of these guys fit a very similar profile, which is that they grew up oftentimes in single mother households. They didn't have a strong positive male influence in their life. This is not always the case, but I'm just giving you kind of a general outline for the profile that I see more than anything. And what happens is I feel really bad for them because they become targets, right? They become essentially what I would call a grift target. So what happens is, and you see this with all these videos of like the boot camps, the men's boot camps where you can go and they'll scream at you. They're going to show you how to be a man, right?
Yeah.
But they see him as a wallet. They see him as a target, an easy target wallet. And so, if you take my course for, and it always kind of follows the same format. Take my 15-minute course or 20 minutes in this free phone call, this free consultation, and then we'll move you to the lowest tier package for $109.95 per month. And then the whole point of that package, the $109.95 per month, is to move you into the $500 package. And the point of that package is to move you into the $10,000 package. Yeah. The point, you know what I mean? And it's ongoing and et cetera, et cetera. It's basically a scumbag version of multi-tier marketing, which is using, hyper-specific targeting in order to essentially victimize young men. And so, of course, us having an opposition message to this and saying, no, I don't think that that's a good idea. And I think instead we should look at maybe a more anti-material based message. And that if we're going to be inside of these leadership roles, it shouldn't be to just have access to people's wallets. I don't think that that's the best idea. So I see this happen all the time inside of that kind of manosphere space. There's actually nothing wrong if somebody has something very useful that they want to package and sell. That's very, very important for people to buy. I say more power to you. Great, go do it. But that's really not what's going on here in a lot of cases.
Yeah. Wouldn't you see like somebody like Rollo Tomassi, who talks a lot about like the scriptures, the evolution of psychology, I guess, of that, would be packaging it in a very different way? I guess what you call the red pill. Then like
so if you look at guys like Tomassi, they're more on the academic side of things. So they have books that they'll sell you and things like that, but they're not really running these kind of consultation courses, which are designed to get you to be able to make $93,000 a month. Yeah. And here's all the success stories, right? This is very old trap 1980s style marketing, right? Almost the 1980s business scumbag marketer who does the multi-tier thing. Yeah. And that's unfortunate. But when you put those guys to the question, of course, they freak the fuck out because they can't really justify why they're telling people to do what they're doing. And, kind of once a con, always a con, right? This guy was in prison forever. It does not surprise me that
he was raped in prison, according to you.
Yeah, that he came up with possibly a con job where he knew he could target this demographic and basically take advantage of them. But that's how I see it.